What's up, guys? How we doing today? All right, let's go ahead and get straight to the elephant in the room we have here today. Or should I say a cow? All right, so it's been about a week since the Switch 2's reveal on the Nintendo Direct on April 2nd, and there's been an eruption of conversations, to say the least. I kind of had to let it marinate for a few days so I could cover every topic that arose, so we're going to do that. All right, some have been good, some have been bad. Mostly bad, and I'm sure you know why. You know, we finished up watching the Direct, and we wondered, where's the price of this Switch and Mario Kart? Turns out they were hiding it on purpose. They wanted the people of the community to go on a scavenger hunt to see how expensive this thing was. And the people of the internet located the retail price of $449, in the US at least. They also had an option to get it for $500 with Mario Kart World. And it turns out that game is $80 by itself. That game looks absolutely amazing, by the way. But with that being said, I don't think a single game on this planet should retail for $80. The price of the console really isn't even that bad. We all thought it was going to be $400. Turns out it was $450. That's only $50, man. But the price of these games, bro, is like, that's the main thing that was pissing people off. I don't care how much AAA support you get, bro. I don't think a game should be worth more than $70. You know, part of the reason why the Switch 1 sold over 150 million units is its affordability. And I think Nintendo's apparent greed is kind of making the company as a whole forget that. 450 really isn't bad for a console that can run 120 FPS, you know, has 4K support, has DLSS upscaling and HDR support. It really is a decently strong piece of tech, you know. Obviously, Nintendo's teaming up with NVIDIA. I think there's going to be a 40 series GPU in this. That's what I've been hearing. And it's going to be optimized to the max. I guarantee it. And, you know, it'd just be a damn shame if this console's launch got ruined by $80 games that have been out for 5 years. And, you know, the price of accessories going up by like 25 to 30%. It's just a shame that, say for example, you've never played The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and you really want to play it on your new Nintendo Switch 2, you know, get that 60 FPS, that 4K support, that 120 FPS, 1080, you know, whatever you want, whatever may have you. And on launch, the most economically optimal way to do that is buying the Switch 1 version on Facebook Marketplace and then buying the upgrade pack! That just seems really lame to me, and it just seems like it would be very unapproachable, you know, if somebody who doesn't play Nintendo games wanted to try it out. It's just like, bro, the Switch 2 version of Mario Party Jamboree should not be $80. It's a good game, don't get me wrong, it is a really good Mario Party, and you know, they're adding Jamboree TV as well, but like, damn, dude, it should not be $80 for some damn Mario Party! And then I can't even talk right now. And then an additional $50 for that camera to get the full experience. I'm just really praying this launch doesn't flop, you know, like the 3DS or the PS3 did. Because the console is going to be so good, dude. It looks so clean, you know. It looks so awesome, man. It has some really great games coming on it. It would just absolutely suck to see this console flop in its first year. And don't get it twisted, I'm going to be there day one buying all the games, you know, the 7 new amiibos, Pro Controller, all that jazz. I'm going to have some money on the side for some upgrade packs, you know, got to play that Jamboree TV, that Breath of the Wild, that Tears of the Kingdom. Revisiting my saves on those is going to be a blast. And then Mario Kart World, oh my god, bro. You're going to have to, like, forcefully strap me to a rocket ship and send me into outer space to get me out my chair to stop playing that game. It's just like, I feel blessed with the spot that I'm in, you know. I have a full-time job. I get the hours I want. And not a lot of people can say that nowadays with the job market, you know. It's hard to get a job and get hours. Like, it really shouldn't be, but that's just how it is nowadays. Anyways, I'm just blessed I only have a few bills to pay, you know, a few, but not too many. And in regards to the Nintendo Switch 2, it's looking like I'll be able to pre-order, you know, everything that I could want with that, to be honest. But there's a lot of people who aren't in as good of a spot as me that love to play video games and love Nintendo games as well, man. And it would just be awesome to see as many people as possible get their hands on one of these, you know, it's going to be a really, really good console with really good games. Best case scenario, it'll be like the 3DS launch, and they'll take down the price within, you know, 6 months like they did with that. And, you know, that would mean more people could get it and experience games like Mario Kart World and Metroid Prime 4 and freaking Donkey Kong Bonanza. Holy cow, that game looks good. I'm gonna get into that later. It's just like I'm a big Nintendo fan at heart, and I really, 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 really want to see them succeed, you know? And there is no doubt in my mind that they can still succeed with the Nintendo Switch 2. Alright, let's get into my next topic, shall we? Mario Kart World. Oh, Mario Kart World! This game looks like it's gonna be something, ain't it? Knockout mode looks amazing. You know, the checkpoints on that'll be really fun online. Definitely gonna record some videos on that. I might even host knockout tournaments for money, so be tuned in for that. Alright, now we're gonna talk about the new characters. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and name this roster off of a list from my phone. Alright, we got Mario, Luigi, Peach, Bowser, Donkey Kong, Rosalina, Wario, Waluigi, Toad, Yoshi, Baby Mario, Baby Luigi, Daisy, Koopa Troopa, Pauline, Bowser Jr., Birdo, Toadette, King Boo, Shy Guy, Cow, Fishbone, Penguin, Dolphin, Pianta from Mario Sunshine, Snowman, Cataquack, also from Mario Sunshine, Nabbit, Pokey, Stingbee, Sidestepper, Piranha Plant, Conkdor, Wiggler, Charging Chuck, Dry Bones, Perry, the Bitty Bug thing from 3D World, Baby Peach, Baby Daisy, Spike, Cheep Cheep, Rocky Wrench, Swoop the Bat, Hammer Bro from every game ever, Goomba from every game ever, and Coin Coffer. I think that's every character. There's probably some missing. I honestly don't know if I said Monty Mole or Peepa the Ghost. Anyways, my prediction of 50 plus characters was correct. And you know, I know for a fact nobody asked for these dudes in Mario Kart, you know, all the new characters, like all the enemies and whatnot. But I couldn't be more happy to have them here, you know? I just think it's cool that, you know, these characters that have been in these games for years, some of them, are finally getting their flowers in Mario Kart. Like that cow from Moo Moo Meadows. I didn't know we needed that as a playable driver, but we sure did. And highly requested characters like Monty Mole is cool to see. And, you know, characters that shouldn't even be able to drive, like bats and Goombas. You know, they don't have any arms, but they can still drive. That's freaking awesome. And there's only like one bad thing people are talking about in this game. It is the new way the Grand Prix mode works and how you drive into a track and only, you know, do more, like one lap of it. But I will say this. They were playing on like 100cc and, you know, those players weren't the best Mario Kart players that I've ever seen on the Nintendo Treehouse. But I'm still optimistic, you know. I still think Grand Prix is going to be fun on like 150. And I'm assuming 200cc is going to be in the game. I don't know why it wouldn't. I know some of y'all are concerned with like the straightness of some of these tracks. I don't think there's anything to worry about there. There's no way it's going to be boring, you know, with 24 real players on the track, you know, trying to whoop each other's ass. Overall, I still think it'll turn out great, you know. And we'll just have to wait and see what that Mario Kart Direct holds for us on April 17th. So, yeah, on to the next topic. The next thing I'd like to bring up. Okay, so it's been reported that the Switch 2 Joy-Cons will not have Hall effect sticks. And if you don't know what those are, that's pretty much like a newer, you know, technology to prevent stick drift in modern controllers. And obviously a big problem with the Switch 1 was them damn Joy-Cons and the stick drift on them. There was quite literally a lawsuit on that. Nintendo caught so many lawsuits that they implemented a free program to fix your Joy-Cons for free of charge, you know. And it's just like, they shouldn't want this to happen again. In an interview conducted by Nintendo Life with Nate Bildorf, he said, "The Joy-Con 2 controllers have been designed from the ground up. They're not Hall effect sticks, but they feel really good." Now, I know he comes out and directly says they're not Hall effect, but there are some promising things with this, I guess. He was pretty much talking about how, you know, he was taking the durability into consideration while making the new Joy-Con 2, and as well as the Pro Controller. My theory is that they're developing their own technology, you know, similar to Hall effect, so they don't have to pay any, like, royalties to other companies or something. Alright, let's move on to the next topic, shall we? Let us talk about Donkey Kong Bonanza. This game looks like a blast, doesn't it? I know y'all been watching this gameplay the whole time on y'all screen. The fact that virtually the whole world that you're on is destructible is, like, insane. And it just seems like a perfect mechanic for like a new 3D Donkey Kong. You know, Donkey Kong is supposed to be this big old strong ape that could throw things and grab vines and climb mountains and jump on top of them and stuff. I just think the environment fits the character very well. Not to mention these bosses look absolutely insane. I love the Banandium thing that all these monkeys are trying to get. I think it's very funny and fitting to see all these monkeys going after this substance. And for those of you who were, you know, like disappointed that we didn't get Super Mario Odyssey 2 instead of this, buddy, this is Super Mario Odyssey 2. You're going to have to go ahead and give this a try. I don't know if you could tell by now, but there's some very obvious and very apparent similarities between the two games. I don't know if y'all have seen gameplay of some of these sub-areas in Donkey Kong Bonanza, but they look almost identical to the sub-areas in Mario Odyssey. You know, like those random areas inside of Kingdoms in Mario Odyssey where you do like some platforming and get a moon at the end of it and then go back through a pipe and go back to the regular world. It seems like there's an equivalent to that in Donkey Kong Bonanza, and I'm being for real, those sub areas look like copy and paste, I swear. If I had to draw comparisons to other games, I would say this is like if Mario Odyssey and Astro Bot had a baby. And those are the two best 3D platformers that I've ever played in my entire life, so I'm not complaining one bit. It looks like it has like some of the cool like intricate mechanics of Mario Odyssey and then like the charm of Astro Bot. Overall, I think this is going to be a huge game for Nintendo. It's going to either score like a 9 or a 10 on IGN, and it will probably end up, you know, being up there for Game of the Year. It'll probably be competing with like Split Fiction or something. That game looks awesome, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, those are my overall thoughts on Donkey Kong Bonanza. I can't wait to play it this July. On to my final topic of this video. This misinformation about the Nintendo Switch 2 and like the prices and, you know, saying it's gonna be as powerful as a PS4 is actually making me angry. So to clear things up, no. Physical games will not be $90 for the Nintendo Switch 2. Both versions of Mario Kart World for the Nintendo Switch 2 will be $80. The physical will not be $90. It only took one moron, and I'm talking one singular moron, took a few euros with USD. And then that information, or should I say misinformation, spread like wildfire. Nextly, whoever is saying that the Switch 2 is going to be equivalent to a PS4 and then spreading it like wildfire is honestly just stupid. You know, the PS4 could barely run at 60 FPS on whatever game it was playing without it sounding like there was a jet taking off 3 feet away from you. And not to mention, a PS4 can't run anywhere close to a smooth 120 FPS even if you were to overclock it or something. And the way Nintendo's gonna end up optimizing these games along with, you know, DLSS and AI and whatnot will make the Nintendo Switch 2 that much better than the PS4. The last topic I want to cover in terms of misinformation are, you know, these game cartridges for the physical releases. For a while there, a bunch of people were saying none of the Switch 2's physical releases will have the actual game on it and it will just be a download code. And this is sort of, kind of, not really, but partly true. So your first party Nintendo games, which are games like Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, your next 3D Mario, your next 3D Zelda, those will have the full game on the cartridge with the physical release. But some select third-party games' physical release will not have the full game on the cartridge, such as Elden Ring and Street Fighter 6. But there are going to be some third-party games that do have the full game on the cartridge, such as Cyberpunk, which is honestly crazy to me. But yeah, that's about as deep as that issue goes. Oh, also one more thing. I'd like to add that Cyberpunk is going to be a 64 gigabyte game. That's like 1/4 of the system storage, and I hope the first party games are more optimized to, you know, not take up as much storage. That's all I've got to say about that. But yeah, that's all my thoughts on issues regarding the Nintendo Switch 2 in this current day. I still think the console is going to do very well, and I think we're going to enjoy it very much. With that being said, make sure you guys subscribe and leave a like on the video, all that jazz, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.